Welcome, friends, to the Beaver Dam, where we're going to have a damn great time talking about Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. So, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Sulker, Slicker, SLKR, whatever you want to call him, he is a sexy beast, and a lot of you have unlocked him recently. I want to talk about his kit and kind of how to use him, what teams he's good with, what his 3 team variants are. You can obviously put him with other team variants, but there's 3 major team variants. And so we'll kind of show you just how those work. So the engine of the SLKR team is SLKR. I know, surprising. But it can be different, you know, like the JMK squad, the engine's kind of Cat, and JMK is just really, really good at supporting Cat. So it just kind of depends team to team where like things are more important, but like for SLKR, he is the most important. So this is the typical lineup you'll use. This is the fast ultimate lineup. And then you also have the fast ramp lineup, which is first order officer instead of lobster. And so this is the second most common. To run this one, you definitely want first order officer slightly faster than Hux. I talk about this a lot, and we'll get into why in a little bit. But those are the 2. This is what I suggest for defense. This is the better defensive team. This is also better for mirror matching. But as for most battles you're going to actually have more success this route. So we'll go in with the typical Sith Trooper lineup first of the fast ultimate lineup and kind of just go through how this team functions. So first, there's a couple disclaimers and things you need to know. Always remember when you're using Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, if he gains turn meter or if any of his allies gain turn meter, they slowly lose protection and health. And so here we go. Whenever a dark side ally loses turn meter, they gain 10% current max health and max protection. So if you're going against General Grievous and he keeps removing turn meter from you guys, your guys are just gonna get beefier and beefier. But then whenever a dark side ally gains turn meter, they lose 10% of the current max health and max protection, and it's stacking. And so eventually your guys will die off if they've gained too much. Why you don't use Phasmos? Why you don't use OG Kylo on this team? Even though OG Kylo's a great character, he just pumps way too much turn meter into this team, and so they just die off super easily. Another part to keep in mind about his kit, whenever a dark side ally gains advantage, if they didn't already have it, they gain a bonus based on their roll, Tank's Taunt, and then the important part is Tank's Taunt and supports and healers gain 20% turn meter, meaning that your healers and supports are going to slowly die off. So Hux, first order officer, they'll slowly lose max health and max protection because they're gaining turn meter. This is a balancing mechanic. It's not meant to non-both with things. It's just to balance the character because he is freaking amazing as a character. But then all tanks pre-taunting is always super nice because when you have Hux on the team, all your tanks are going to have advantage, and so they'll instantly taunt. Super, super nice. And then the other part that's important is whenever a dark side ally loses advantage without scoring a critical hit, they gain advantage for 1 turn. So this is helpful when your buffs get dispelled, because then you're just like, oh yeah, I just get advantage right back. But there's also another piece, and we'll talk about it. The main mechanic of SLKR that's important is Siphon. And so there's 2 parts to Siphon. There's a Siphon number, that's how much you can siphon for, and then there's actually siphoning for that amount. And so you need to build up the number before you can start siphoning for that amount. So this last ability siphons for the amount that you have built up, but you can see above his head we don't have any numbers above his head, which means we don't have a siphon amount. And so the first thing you always want to open up with is Stasis Strike. It dispels all buffs on enemies, and then it gives an unresistible, undispellable stun to the target person you hit, which includes anyone that says dispel a stun, like Darth Revan. Anyone like that, doesn't matter, it'll stun them. The only people it won't stun are those who say they cannot be stunned, like at all. Like Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke, those kinds of characters. And so you want to just hop in with this, and it says you gain 20 Siphon until the end of the turn, and on a critical hit you get 40 Siphon. You have advantage, so most of the time you're going to hit that critical hit. So you hit that, you get that stun out, and amazingly we have our 40 Siphon. So we can see here, this unit will gain 1% of the stat per stack, and the target will lose the amount gained. So when he uses that last ability, he'll be able to do basically just steal some stats from them. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Hux is super cool in this team for the specific reason of A, he stops enemy turn meter as long as he has advantage. If allies are first order at the start of the battle, enemies can't gain bonus turn meter while he has advantage. Super, super nice. Additionally, his abilities have specific stuff, like this dispels buffs. This mass assist dispels buffs if he has advantage, and he loses advantage. But because of SLKR's lead, he'll regain advantage because he didn't critically hit anyone. Same with this last ability. If he has advantage, it not only dispels debuffs and passes a turn to someone, but it will also reset all ability cooldowns, and since he's not critically hitting anyone, he's going to regain advantage. And so we're going to, right here, I'm just going to call in a mass assist because I want to wait a little bit on passing a turn over. And so we will go after this guy. Okay, so now it's SLKR's turn again. And so now we can deal physical damage to all enemies, and he siphons mastery from the target enemy. Doubled if they were stunned, important distinction, doubled if they're stunned. So we want to do anyone that's stunned is who we're targeting. So he'll take that number above his head, which is 40, and then he will siphon a percentage of mastery from them. And the way that siphon mastery works is he gains that much mastery, and then they lose that much mastery. But then it doesn't work on Galactic Legends and raid bosses. The important distinction is you still gain the 40%. It's just that the enemy won't lose it if they're a Galactic Legend or a raid boss. And so keep ramping at all times in any battle you're in. Don't just ignore this ability if you're going up against a Galactic Legend solo or anything like that. You still siphon for the amount, you just don't make them lose the amount. And so this also gets rid of all debuffs on your allies, which is super nice. So we're going to aim at our stun target, and we're going to hit him with that. So you can see here that as we are going, we're building up this ultimate charge. The way that you build ultimate charge is dealing damage, which gives you 2%, and then a 5% of your ultimate if you critically hit. And that's why this is the fast ultimate build, is because you got Sith Trooper here who can hit this AoE all the time, and all of a sudden we're at full ultimate. And so we're immediately able to jump into ultimate. The last ability on Kylo Ren we got right here is his basic. His basic increases his siphon by 10. So, you know, even if you're out of abilities, you're still building your siphon to some amount. But then also it deals damage twice and then 3 times if they're stunned. So this is hugely important for just dealing tons and tons of damage. But at this point, we do have our ultimate. And the way the ultimate works is it makes you invincible for however many turns that you have the ultimate. So you can see 3 bars here. If you have the first bar, you get 1 turn, second bar 2 turns, third bar with a full ultimate, you have 3 turns of ultimate. While you're in ultimate, you are invincible, you can't get debuffs, and you dispel all debuffs. And then on top of that, all your cooldowns are always reset. And so we'll jump right in, do our little catwalk. And then the other important piece is that it doubles your siphon. So we just had 40 siphon, now all of a sudden we have 80 siphon. So it'll double all siphon that you have, but then when the ultimate goes away, so will the siphon. So instead of, you know, 80 like we have right now, if we were to lose ultimate right now, we'd go back down to 40 siphon. So someone died. Important part of the Sith Troopers get. This guy basically takes a bonus turn every time one of his allies dies and resets the cooldown of his AoE, meaning we can get a whole bunch of that ultimate. And so we're already almost to first ultimate again. And so now we're back to him and we're in ultimate. And so basically we just want to keep siphoning and just boosting our stats when we're in ultimate. It's only occasionally that you'll actually use the poke when you're in ultimate, because the more people you hit with this, the more that you're going to be able to get more ultimate charge and jump right back into another ultimate. And you want to get as many ultimates as you can in a row. Just trying to basically use that as a panic button to keep you from dying in certain battles. There is an important thing, especially when it comes to this team, and it's that if someone dies to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, they cannot be revived. And so if he kills off any of these guys, they don't get their little revive from adapt or die. So that happened. He died. We're going to try and get more ultimate. All of a sudden, we're already back to full ultimate. So they can do what they want to SLKR. Nothing's going to happen. We'll just keep siphoning. And so right there, they all should have revived, but instead they didn't. Now we're down to one person, and we get a 2-turn stun that can't be dispelled or resisted. Now that she's a solo character, who cares? We're going to take some time and just, you know, play around with her. And so you can see here, I've got 60 Siphon. I siphoned, and you can see they even put like a marker for you. The unit's current mastery is higher than its starting value. You won't be able to know exactly how much, but you'll be able to tell, trust me, that it's going up. On top of that, you can see on the character you siphon from, mastery decreased. So once again, it doesn't tell you how much, but you can see that you've siphoned from that person before. I'm honestly just going to stun her again. Let's jump into our next ultimate. And so no, we had 100 Siphon, now we're up to 200 Siphon. So now we're siphoning 200% of their mastery, and their mastery can hit 0 and go under 0. If the character has accuracy, this means they will never hit your characters ever again. If the character has protection as part of their mastery, it means they'll no longer ever be able to gain protection back. But then SLKR is just going to keep boosting his damage, because it takes away from their mastery, whatever that might be, and then boosts your mastery, which is crit damage, and that kind of stuff. And so right here, you know, let's just get a big hit with our basic just to show you guys kind of the damage numbers. So 81,000, and then it would have dealt damage 3 times if we didn't kill her in the first hit. And so we would have dealt about, you know, 240,000 damage right there. And so that's the point of that one, is basically Sith Trooper feeds you a whole bunch of ultimate charge in general. First Order Stormtrooper is just there to be a tank. He has a 50% chance to call in another ally to assist whenever he uses an ability, which includes attacking at a turn. And then also he gives defense up, a little bit of turn meter, not much, only once every 4 turns, and so, or sorry, 3 turns. And so it's really not something that we worry about. He also has a buff dispel on his basic, which is super nice. But he's mostly just a secondary tank. Sith Trooper assists off of every single critical hit or stun, and so he's always assisting this team and building up that ultimate charge, and then whenever someone dies, he hits that AoE, and we can be able to get a whole bunch of ultimate charge. He also has a cleanse, and he regains advantage on the whole team with that cleanse with his final ability. Kylo Ren is just meant to be here to be the beefiest of tanks. He gains health every time he gets hit. He has an extra 2-turn stun. This one can be dispelled, but it can't be resisted. His last ability, we don't really use that much. We use more his basic that gives tenacity down, so we can apply other debuffs and things like that. But honestly, he's just there to be a tank. So you got the 2 tanks to keep Supreme Leader Kylo Ren alive. You guys got the guy that feeds turns to Kylo Ren and gives him more attacks. And then you have the guy who feeds ultimate charge to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Our other version of this team, this is the one that I use most, and I typically take on offense, is this variant. And so this is the variant you want to use for Jabba, for Lord Vader, and this is my favorite variant. And you need First Order officers slightly faster than Hux, and we'll show you exactly why. So jumping right in, also, just a brief side note, the reason that Iden Versio isn't getting 100% turn meter is because it's 100% turn meter. And while Hux has advantage, enemies can't gain turn meter. And so that's why she's not taking first turn like she normally does when you go up against her with other teams. So, we're going to open up the same way we did before. So we're popping that stun, we're doing a little poke, and now we have this officer going next because he's slightly faster than Hux. And so he has 2 abilities that are absolutely fantastic. The first one, passes a turn over to another character. Yes, it's turn meter, but it's not enough times that it's really going to affect Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. I'm telling you that right now. But it passes over a turn, and it also gives them offense up, which is super, super nice. His last ability, reduces all cooldowns by 1 and also reduces turn meter on an enemy that you hit with it. So he just poked. We get to pass it over. He immediately gets to Siphon for that amount. So because that guy's stunned, that's 80% that he's getting right now. And so he just got 80% mastery. And now it's Hux's turn. We pass it back over to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. His cooldowns are reset. And so now we can go and stun another person. And now it's Kylo Ren Unmasked's turn. Let's stun another person. Oh my gosh. The whole team's controlled. Oh, look, Iden Versio does the most damage, and if we kill her with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, she doesn't revive. So we'll just siphon from her. And you can see kind of how this team really flows. It's just giving Supreme Leader Kylo Ren tons and tons of turns. And so, we'll jump in with this. The reason I'm doing that is because there's a weird glitch when Kylo Ren is attacking out of turn. I don't know if this is intended or not, but he doesn't prevent revives if he's killing people out of turn. I'll have to check his kit when we get back to his turn. So we just reduce cooldown, so we immediately have the poke again, and the next turn we'll immediately have the siphon. So even if we didn't have ultimate, or if we want to save our ultimate, if we need to bail out of a situation like someone's about to hit their own ultimate, we can be able to save this for when we need a panic button, and so we can just keep going with this. Let's check and see. Yep, during his turn can't be revived. So it's not a glitch, it's intended, it's just something that I've never bothered to read. But yeah, because it is his turn, let's try to kill Iden Versio, because she can't come back. Then we'll hit him, just kind of keep going. We'll siphon from this guy. We won't even bother hitting ultimate, honestly, because we don't need the panic button. We'll pass the turn back over to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and we'll just basic and call it a day. And so this is the optimal team, in my opinion, before you get the final variant of the team. And I'll show you guys the final variant. I'm working on it right now. I don't by no means have it done. Night Sister. Yes, this is a weird team, I know. And you won't see this very often that people are using, but you'll see people like Arnold end up using it quite a bit. Just here and there. So this is the team, and I'm gonna throw us in real quick. Iden's gonna take first turn because we don't have Hux this time, so we might just all die off immediately. But we do have Wat Tambor with the Zeta, which will give us the first turn, and the point is basically just to keep Supreme Leader Kylo Ren alive. And so you've got Beskar or the armor to give Beskar armor over to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, which will make him beefier, regain protection on his turns, can't be critically hit. You also have Wat Tambor to give over this tank tech to give him 30% protection to dispel his debuffs on each of his turns. And then you have a pre-taunting tank and someone to keep that pre-taunting tank alive. And then every time a tank gains advantage, they re-taunt. And so with his final ability, his swipe, where he actually siphons for the siphon number, you will actually put advantage on all allies, which includes the tank, and the zombie will then taunt once again. So it's just a team to basically buy a SLKR as much time as he can, because it doesn't matter who he's facing. If he ramps hard enough, he wins. Like back during the Sith Triumvirate raid, I used to solo the entire Sith Triumvirate raid, like as soon as it opened with my Supreme Leader Kylo Ren First Order team. I just go through the entire thing because you just keep siphoning. You just keep siphoning, and your siphon number gets like 500 in that raid, and then you're just taking 4, 6, 16, 23% of the raid boss's health with each hit. It gets really gross. But overall, it's just about keeping him alive. So we'd pass this over to him, make sure he gets getting 30% protection, selling debuffs. Obviously, the team isn't working very well because of the fact that, I don't have the team ready. They're all gear 12 or lower. But that's the idea of the team. And so that's actually the best version of the team. It can take down JMK. It's much more consistent against Lord Vader and versus Jabba. So this is kind of the final variant of the team that you want to work on. Like I'm just now working on it, and I've had Supreme Leader Kylo Ren for 2 years. So you don't necessarily need it. It's just nice. But this guy is absolutely sexy. I love his kit. I love how he works. And we'll jump in and kind of show you, see if we can't find some good battle in Squad Arena real quick. I don't know if I have anything offhand, but if you're looking for you know, someone you're just like, oh, I want to see Supreme Leader Kylo Ren do some stuff, jump into one of my streams. Honestly, like I use him every single Grand Arena. I take down Jabba's with him. I take down Lord Vader's with him. You can check I think my last stream I used him against, I honestly don't remember. I think it was some GL. But yeah, like, you know, I've never actually gone against Reva, but you can take this team against basically anyone. Honestly, there are teams it doesn't work against. JMK and JML are ones that don't work unless you have a better team. If you throw Wat Tambor in there instead of Sith Trooper and give him that tech, you should be able to do JML. It'll be pretty messy. If you have the full, you know, end game, those 4 characters, Night Sisters and Mandalorians and all that, you will end up being able to do basically any Galactic Legend there is. But JMK and JML are really the only 2 he struggles with outside of that. Otherwise, if they're just, you know, unless they're datacroned out of their minds, he can kill basically any team. So hopefully this helps you guys kind of get an idea. I'd love to say, hey, here's a battle, but honestly, my Squad Arena, I've been fighting up with Bane and having some fun with Bane. And so I don't have a whole lot here that I can test against and be like, ah, yes, look, a Jabba, because everyone up here is JMKs. But thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully this helps you kind of get a grasp on how the character is supposed to work, how his kit works. If you have any questions at all, feel free to throw it in the comments. You can also go to my Discord and, you know, message in there. I'd be happy to help. It's in the description if you're looking for the link for it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.